can help him. Yeah.
Do you think this will continue? That the forced disappearances, what we know as abductions today, do you think they will continue?
I think there's a limit. There's a limit there's a limit on how long this can go on. One, the intensity of oppression will definitely create a response. And the limit will not be brought by the government, it will be brought by the victims themselves. If the victims come together and say, what do we do? Then that will define when that particular exercise will stop. Of course, it's 2026, we're headed 2027. One of those periods when I think it may stop is when people come together and say, please, this government has to take a break and we have another one. That other one may be good. In Africa, you can't be sure. I've taken power and you see them fast. They may just give us another replay of the past. But that's a period when it can also stop. But what we learned from the GNC is the power of the people. That you just need a few thousands of people who are determined, and the government will come tumbling. And I think that is another lesson we learned, that some of these acts of oppression can be brought to an end. Of course, Ruto has made history. I don't know, I'm giving credit, because he has given us a price of torture. Says if you get killed now, you can earn how much?
3 million.
You can earn 3 million. And if they break your leg, you can get something. We have been elevated now to almost the game park situation, where if an elephant does this, you get paid some amount. Now, for me, we have a challenge. And the challenge is that for these things to stop, it may not just take the character of the police. I've heard people say we need to take the police for training. But who directs the police? I think we need to take the political leadership, the government officials, for training. If training can bring any change. I don't think it does, because already we have very educated people in office. And if they cannot stop it, then we have a problem. So I do not expect any change during the regime of William Ruto. And I just hope that a moment it needs to show up, maybe before the elections or after the elections, when Kenyans can say, please, you must stop or else.
Yeah. Wafula, the government, you said, has given us a prize for whenever they abduct you.
Shooting the leg.
You're shot in the leg, you die, you're maimed. There is a prize to that.
Yeah.
But that, if we just pause and think about what that means, is the government has self-indicted itself by agreeing and saying, we take responsibility for killing, for shooting, for maiming and injuring you. That's essentially what the government is saying. That police officers, or rather orders, would be given today that more Kenyans will be killed, but because we can pay, we will pay. We will kill and we will pay. We will injure and we will still pay. To what end, though? What must we do, Wafula, today for us to get to a point where abductions, extrajudicial killings, stop being the modus operandi in Kenya? Because we can't continue like this in perpetuity. Something must give. What must the political class learn? What must the police learn? And what must wananchi learn? Because it is not just a conversation that will be left for a particular group. It's a conversation that everybody must get into. We say police officers need curriculum. No. They've been in the curriculum for 9 months before they graduate. Perhaps something needs to be done, but what exactly? What's the solution to where we find ourselves today?
You see, one. I think there are two things I would say. I have no specific answer. I'm not an expert. But we can look at history of Africa and histories of political repression. And there are very many things that come out of history. One of those ways is crafting a project that can crash the state apparatus. I don't know what I mean, but I'm just saying that the state as it exists, we don't want to start from in that finds problems. So how do we get it reworked? And when we say about it being reworked, it's been done in the world. You look at Tanzania. Tanzania arrest is very diplomatic, you know. Jaramogi was arrested from his house in pajamas, abducted. I think that's the word. He was abducted in his pajamas, and an old man of that age moved and kept in the cell. You see, that's abduction. Now in Tanzania, we ask ourselves, how come they say ndugu?
Naomba
nikukamate na kama hujavaa nguo ama unamaliza chai, maliza kikombe twende. You see, how did they arrive at that? For me, we are looking at the ideology of those in power. Are they anti-people or pro-people? The people we have in power today are engaged in the business of making money. Even these development projects you are having, they're just the available means for making money. I remember being told about someone that I want to mention, say that when we take power, we are going to make sure we build even airports where they are not required, so that we can make money and be richer than Uhuru Kenyatta in 3 years.
Yes.
You get? Their objective is to make money. Is there anything we can do to this gang to make them change and have a Nyerere heart? I don't think so. So, solution number one is for us to find an answer to how do we overhaul the state apparatus as it is. That's state number one. And that can come out through an electoral process. Then we also look at how other countries are managing to solve their problems. Allow me to talk about Jerry Rawlings. Jerry Rawlings emerged from the army and said, you guys, those of you are obstacles, please go to heaven.
Literally.
Mambo ni matatu. So he also came and gathered all of them and dispatched them to heaven. Actually, Ghana changed.
It did.
Yeah. So we like it or not, that is also what history tells us. Then the other challenge we must accept is this, and I don't know how we can deal with it. How can people, we need, maybe it's a constitutional issue, but people emerge and become heads of state and home governments. Then they use the people, the votes, to ascend those particular positions. Then after arriving there, they forget about the people and rely on the instruments of coercion. Blind. Let me tell you, it is correct to call the policemen dogs. They're not human beings. You know? Even your own child has been, but you're still towing the line. What do we do to make sure that we re-engineer the police force so that they can become human beings? Human beings, just being human beings. Because there must be a point at which they can say, this one, please,
too much.
We can't do. Yeah. How do we get there? That's a challenge that maybe should be assigned to Parliament.
For sure. If there was a willingness to do it, we would probably see the conversation. But why we talk about these things is to ensure that conversation remains front and center. And we've said this about very many conversations. That's why we continue to have them. Some of the things that you've said this